Moose Country. Welcome to another episode of Let Us Be Heard.
What's up, Moose fam? Calling back here for another episode of Let Us Be Heard. It is a holiday season, so my co-host and friend Dale Hubley won't be joining us today. He has some holiday plans with the family. I hope you're having a blast, Dale. As for the rest of you, I hope you're all having a blessed holiday season. Show must go on, though. We have a great guest. We've been trying to get this guy on for some time now. His schedule finally lined up, so please welcome Bruce Gillis. Bruce Gillis, how you doing, sir?
Doing all right. How about you?
Good, man. Listen, thanks for joining in with us. I know the Moosehead community personally. I am the Moosehead community, and every time we get a chance to hear from our former Moose, it's always a blessing, man.
Yeah, excited to be here.
I am going to ask you something that I don't have on our questions, so don't kill me. But right now, the boys are going through trade period. We're right in the middle of it. And, I'm just curious, do you have any type of advice or anything you'd like to say to the boys who are, sitting on pins and needles wondering what's going on?
Yeah, you know what? I think it's the league it seems to be a little more professional these days. So I think these guys know what to expect. But, if it's new to them, it's one of those things where, hockey guys are hockey guys. You fit in with any team you land on, and you make new friends, and and you find your spot within the team. And it's a journey, and bouncing around to different towns can be a great thing. I'd say take it all in stride and just enjoy it.
Beautiful set of advice, bud. So I know you're still kicking around in Nova Scotia, but you're originally from Alberta. When did you move to Nova Scotia? How did you become, a Moosehead? Like, how did you get to Halifax?
Yeah, so I grew up. I was born and raised in Fort McMurray, and my folks were the original Maritimers that went west for work in the early 80s. So, I was born there, grew up there. Great town for, sports, and lots of support and community support for hockey. Is a big hockey town. The junior A team there, it's just, I grew up with a lot of things that I just kind of assumed were normal. But like when you go to a rink and the visitors bench has to be covered in a junior rink so that fans can't throw stuff on the visitors bench, like
Really?
that was just kind of the way Fort McMurray was. Oh yeah, the old rink. They fixed it up since then, but it was such a great hockey town. Everybody was so passionate about it. So I grew up there playing hockey. My last year of hockey there would have been in Pee Wee, where we went to the Quebec Pee Wee International Tournament. We won our division, playing with guys that I grew up with that were just guys I went to school with every day, and we played hockey together, and we played outside in the backyard rinks every day. So big change for me when I left. I would have left in 96. So first year Bantam, grade 9 is when I moved to Nova Scotia. We moved to Cole Harbour. And spent a year of Bantam hockey with the Red Wings, and then 2 years of midget with the Subways, and then was drafted and ended up making the team in 99. So that was my journey to Halifax. And then after university, ended up going back to Calgary for 15, 16 years, and just came back in 2022 and living in Truro now.
I lived in Alberta for probably about 3 years of my life, mostly central Alberta, but I did spend some time in Fort McMurray working up in the like doing shutdowns and stuff for the plants and stuff like that, right? So I know how crazy Fort McMurray can get.
It was probably a little tamer back then, but and that's what happens to most people. A lot of people go out there with a plan to stay for 3 years or 5 years, and that turns into jobs and kids and careers and houses, and and then all of a sudden you're stuck there. So and I wouldn't say stuck. We loved it there. We loved Calgary, and it just was an opportunity for our family to move back home and be closer to family. So we jumped on it when we had the chance there a couple of years back.
So going back to the trade, you ended up spending 3.5 years with the same team in the QMJHL, which is impressive. Not a lot of players can say that. What kept you on the team? What did you do? What did you offer for 3.5 years to stay on the same team?
Probably a little luck kept me there for sure. I think it was it was a good, and I'll say luck because it was kind of the timing, right? Like it was a time when the team was we were a lunchbox kind of team. Like we had to scratch and claw for every win that we had the whole 3 years that I was there. And I was just the kind of player that fit that mold quite well. And the coaches had enough confidence in me to keep me around that long. And they were looking for certain types of players that really wanted to buy into that system and just be ready to go as hard as you could go every night. And for me, that was my biggest asset. I wasn't a big goal scorer, but I was certainly willing to get out there and try to make something happen every time I got on the ice. So yeah, fortunate timing. I think it was just it worked out really well, and got to surround myself with some great players and great coaches, and learn tons while I was there.
The '09 team. That was your first year. That still goes down as one. I'm not sure throwing any shade your way, but that's still going down right now as one of our worst years in history, and we're going through it right now too. We're not looking much better right now. We're in the beginning of a rebuild. I'm assuming it's the same thing that happened with you guys, and then 3 short years later we go on to win the Memorial Cup. So we're hoping that's the same thing that's going on right now. Any thoughts on the rebuild?
Yeah, it's part of the game. It happens, especially when you have a league where players can only stick around for 3 or 4 years. At the most. Like a lot of guys are there for 1 year or 2 years. So that just comes with the territory. So when you make a big run like the Moose have done in the last couple of years, you kind of have to reset. And I think they're putting all the right pieces in place. Like I think they're looking to build that team once again, and I think they have the right mindset to do it.
Now you said you're in Truro now, correct?
Yeah.
Do you ever get out to see Falkenham and Greenwood with the Bearcats?
I saw John Greenwood this morning. Actually, I talked to him, and we kind of gave ourselves both a hard time for not getting together for lunch and catching up outside of the rink. But yeah, I've been to a few games. My kids love to go, so I take them to the games. It's a great spot, and they got a nice rink for it for junior A hockey. It's a good town for it.
And Greenwood's a hell of a guy too. We had him on the show as well, and anytime I have a question for him, he's always quick to respond. Just a real stand-up guy.
So he was John Greenwood was my first line mate when I played for the Red Wings in Coal Harbor in Bantam.
No
So
way.
we played hockey together, went to high school together. Yeah, so I know John quite well.
Oh, that's amazing, man. So late '90s was a different time in the league. Many changes have come since. Do you think the game is better now or better then? Is it harder now or harder then?
I don't think it's any harder. It's different for sure. I wouldn't say better or worse. I think it's a tough league, whether you're playing in the late '90s, early 2000s, or you're playing today. It's a tough league to play in, and there's the difference now is everybody is so skilled. Like guys are so skilled and so fast, and I think that maps back to the training programs. Like if that kind of training and that sort of program was in place, then it would have been the same back then. It was just a different world to be playing hockey. And so you still had your elite superstar players that could dominate a game, and those guys would be the same players if they were playing today. So it's I wouldn't say better or worse. I just say it's different. And same thing with the kids today. If they were playing back then, they would have been they would have fit right in.
So that's the hockey side of it. The on the ice. Do you have any fond memories off the ice with your fellow Moose?
Yeah, I think I've seen a few of the clips of some of the guys that I've played with, on your podcast, and a lot of those stories kind of ring true. It's it's a lot of the routines, right? Like a lot of people think like when they hear junior hockey, they think it's just a party, and the fact is that you don't have too many days to really let loose and party. You're pretty locked down, so it really comes back to your routines, and whether that's going to the rink every day for practice, or you're going to university, or you're going to high school. those were always good memories. Like I've heard a couple of stories about Benny driving the carpools, and
Yeah.
I've seen him stop at a red light and pop the hood and just try to figure out what's going on under his engine when there's nothing going on under his engine. Waving at the cars behind him saying, I don't know what's wrong. And, things like that. I carpooled for a little while, and, we had Bill Donnelly used to drive the Moose van, the Mooseheads van around town and get guys off to high school and get them to practice. And then I had the minivan, my folks' minivan that I would drive. So we had the Moose van, and then Pascal Leclerc, I think, dubbed my van the Bruce van. So we had the Moose van and the Bruce van.
Bruce van. I love that. That's awesome.
Drive around Halifax. So yeah, a good ring to it.
So do you have any favorite memories on the ice? Whether it's it doesn't have to be with the Mooseheads. You played for other teams. Do you have any, like, when you think of hockey and you're at your best? What's a memory that comes to mind?
Yeah, I think just getting started with the Mooseheads, like that, those first couple of games when you just finally get to play in the big rink, is those will stick around forever. Our playoff run that we had in 02, like I said, we never had a championship team, but that was one of the years we put a good effort in. We ended up losing to Cape Breton, and I scored a double OT winner on Fleury, which was kind of a highlight for me as a guy that didn't score many goals.
Wow.
And, actually, it was pretty funny. Right after the game, we were in Sydney, and Johnny Moore used to do the play-by-play for the Moose, and I saw him afterwards under the stands there after the game, and he kind of pulled me aside. He said, "Hey, great goal, but I got to apologize." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he said, the way it came out of my mouth, like when you scored, like, and I've never heard it, but I think it was something to the effect of, like, the least skilled guy on the ice just in the net in double overtime. So
against Fleury, nonetheless.
I said, "Johnny, you can't bring me down right now. I'm riding high." So yeah, that was pretty funny. But other than that, like my whole first year at St. Thomas was a blast. Like we had a really good team, had a lot of wins, and just being a bunch of guys. I think most of our team were rookies, so a lot of guys that were all new to the program, and we were living first year university life, having lots of fun and winning games. So it was a good one for sure. And then I'd say after that, like I never stopped playing hockey. So one of the highlights for me from a hockey perspective, we used to go when I was living out west. We used to do the Lake Louise 4-on-4 pond hockey tournament every year, like put on the lake.
I love Lake Louise.
No better place on earth to play hockey.
Beautiful.
So that was a highlight for me. So we some years we'd go with just the boys and have a fun time, and then other times it was a full family weekend. We'd have the kids there, and they're out skating on the lake and swimming in the pool, and yeah, hard to beat that weekend for sure.
And anybody who's watching right now, if you haven't seen Lac Louise, it's the most beautiful. Like all the surrounding areas, there's mountains. There's the most beautiful emerald green lakes that you've ever seen in your life. It's just before Banff. It's literally God's country. It's gorgeous out there. Absolutely beautiful. I gotta apologize to you too. I post dated you when I was talking. It slipped my mind. You're 99, and I accused you of being 09.
Yeah, I heard that. Worst thing ever. Like I take exception to
that. I apologize.
Yeah, no worries.
I post dated you by 10 years. I mean, it's a compliment. You look that young, right?
Oh yeah, I appreciate that. That makes up for it.
Yeah, exactly. So what was the move like when you were traded to Hull? Explain for a kid, 19 years old, moving across Canada to be,
So that one, I mean, my situation, I don't think there's anybody that's going to go through that the same way I did. So when I was 20, I played with the Moose. I started the season in Halifax, and then there were some trades for some additional 20-year-olds, and I ended up getting numbered out. So I ended up going right to university. So I went to St. Thomas, started playing there in 02, and then at Christmas time, or I guess December, the Mooseheads traded my rights to Hull, and so I went to Hull out of university. So I played the first half of the season. We had just wrapped up our first half. I got that call. I said, I'm gonna definitely go there and give it another crack as a 20-year-old. So I went there through December, played a handful of games to start before the Christmas break, had Christmas break, went back to Hull, played a few more games, and we did the East Coast road trip. So we came out, we bussed all the way from Hull. We did Moncton, Cape Breton, Halifax. So I played in Halifax, was the last game of that stretch, and then bussed all the way back to Hull. Got called into the coach's room. He said they've also traded for some more 20-year-olds. So he had spoken to Mike Eagles, my coach at St. Thomas. He said, "Yeah, Mike's happy to have you back and jump right back into the AUS." So I got on a plane the next day. We went out and had a few celebratory drinks with some of the guys, and got on a plane and flew back to Fredericton. The bus picked me up at the airport, and I played again in Halifax that night. So it was a bit of a whirlwind, to say the least, going from Halifax all the way back, getting let go, jumping back in with St. Thomas, and playing in Halifax the next night. So but it was fun. It was great to go to Hull and have that little bit of experience to play in another city and live with billets, and like I said, meet some new teammates, and build some friendships. And yeah, it was a good experience for sure. I think they won the league that year, so it would have been nice to stick around, but unfortunately didn't pan out that way.
It's certainly an experience you kind of have to just take the good with the bad and take it all in, because it's something that you'll never ever do again in your life.
Oh, for sure, yeah, and that was my mindset going into it. That the opportunity presented itself, and I said, you know what, it'd be foolish not to jump on it and just see where it goes. So yeah, it was a blast.
So you work in software now, but are you still? Is hockey still a part of your life in any way?
Oh yeah, yeah. Like I said, I've never not played hockey. So I played my years in university, and then certainly had a look around to see if there was anything out there for me, and just made the decision to not pursue that anymore. And I ended up moving out to Calgary that same year. And I think within 3 days of me getting there, I had guys say, "Yeah, come on out and have a skate with us." Some guys that I just met, or and played hockey every year since. And it kind of led itself to some pretty good experiences. Like I said, the Lake Louise pond hockey is something that we did year in and year out, and it was, like I said, the best weekend of the year. Lots of charity stuff that kind of came along over the years. We did this one called Hockey Helping Kids, and that was a thing through another software company that was doing this thing in the US, where we'd go down and we'd do like a charity function, and then we'd go watch an NHL game, and then we got to go play on the rink after the NHL game. So we did one in Colorado. We did one in Minnesota. So yeah, tons of fun. Did the Gordie Howe Cares tournament in Calgary. Kind of became a big thing for a crew of guys that I was around. So big charity fundraiser, lots of charity events through the years to raise money for that, and get to play alongside some of the Flames alumni. And yeah, just hockey it just presents so many opportunities for you. And for me, even career-wise, being able to meet people at the rink that help you get a foot in the door somewhere from a career perspective, it's always been kind of a blessing to be a part of those teams, whether they're junior hockey teams, university hockey teams, or even the beer league teams. They're all great.
Now you still play like a pickup around town here. Has your position or the way you play hockey evolved or changed? Like, are you still playing the same position you played back in Major Junior?
Yeah, nothing's changed, and it bothers everybody that I play against, because my asset is I can go and back check. So I'm not a goal scorer, so that's never left. No, I still play in a league in Truro, play a couple of pickup skates, and coach the kids. My son plays U11, and I love being able to get out there with the kids and go through a season with them and see how much they improve at that age. It's tons of fun. So yeah, it's part of life, and it never really goes away. I don't mind going to the rink at 10 p.m. and having a skate. That's fine by me.
And now I gotta ask, do you know about the Mooseheads alum program, and are you a part?
Yeah, so we had a good handful of guys that we've been trying to get it off the ground over the last couple of years. So it's kind of been a little start and go, but we're certainly actively working on it to build it and grow it. And and really create some, a couple of functions a year that are going to be, good fundraisers and really get involved with the community and with the current team as well, and kind of create that bridge between the alumni and the current players. Yeah, lots more to come on that. We're still trying to get it off the ground, but it's front of mind for sure.
You, another member of the alum group who may be working with you, a good buddy of mine, Jonathan Boone. I spoke with him about it quite a few times. I don't know what I could do, but if anything the Moose fans can do to help facilitate whatsoever, whether it's getting a word out, speaking to somebody, you let me know, man. I'd love to see that organization up and running and running full steam, man.
Yeah, for sure. And as with Booner, we played golf in the summer together, and it's he's a good bud for sure. And I think for anybody that catches wind of it, if they get in touch with me, we'll get them on the email list and make sure that they know what's going on.
So I guess I could let people, guests that I have on, know about it and put them in contact with you or Boone then, or what?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Works perfect, man. Works perfect. So do you still make it to Moosehead games?
Get down, not as often as I'd like, but when I can, I get out there. The kids love to get down to Halifax and see the games there. So I get down with them when I can, and then I'm fortunate enough to get there with work and bring some customers once in a while and some of our business partners and go see games alongside them as well. So it's nice to be able to do that.
And you mentioned a few of we've talked about a few of your former teammates, with the alumni and stuff. Do you still keep in contact with any of the former Moose you had as teammates?
Yeah, so it's it was a nice thing to kind of get looped into. I think Joe DePenta was working on getting it off the ground, and Mike Couch, and so we had a little group there between Joe and myself and Mike. Billy Manley was a part of that. Sean McKenzie was part of that as well. Just coached so many guys over the years. And then we were able to loop in some younger guys there. I was working with Ben Chason. He was helping out as well. A good little bunch there. Unfortunately, Joe moved back to California. He was kind of helping out quite a bit. But it kind of gave me an opportunity to meet some new guys as well. And we did a couple of nights last year and got some of the guys together. And it was a good mix of some older guys, some younger guys. But getting down to the rink, like Benedict is coaching in the Valley, so I've been able to see Benny a couple times. He's coaching with Sean this year, and last year Fabian was coaching in Fabian Joseph was one of our coaches. He's coaching in Amherst, and was able to see him down at the junior A games as well, and staying in pretty close contact with Booner and Mike Couch and a couple of the guys that I played with over the years. But hoping that this alumni thing can get off the ground and just continue to make some of those connections.
I think it's a noble cause. I think that the more you guys can be involved in the current team's lives, the better. I know we have the mentorship with the Halifax Regional Police, but what better mentor than somebody who's been through it?
Yeah, and we had that program with the police as well when I played, and it's great that it's there, and those guys are phenomenal. They put so much time into it, but like you said, to have guys, and there's a lot of guys that come to Halifax that are new to the city, new to the province. So putting them at ease as new guys that come in, but also for guys that are transitioning. I think for some guys, if they know the program is there and they don't know where they're going after junior hockey or university, or and they're having a hard time, it's just a great way to make connections and give guys some advice, give them a hand if they need it. Like, all that stuff is part of it. And I think as we grow it, that's what I would like to see it become, is really just kind of that system to support everybody and not only do good things in the community, but also be there to support players.
I love that. I'd also like to see like a past player, current player scrimmage game once a year too. I think that would be absolutely incredible to see.
Yeah, I don't know. There might be some insurance issues on letting former players get out with us.
No hitting.
Us old
no
time.
hitting.
Yeah, lots of stuff. There's so many possibilities. So we'd love to see some of those guys back on the ice that we haven't seen on the ice in a long time.
So I'm just going to open it up to you. Is there anything you'd like to say, to the organization, to the fans, to players, past, present, future, to the city? Anything you'd like to say regarding your time with the Mooseheads?
Yeah, I think like I said, from an alumni perspective, if guys get in touch with me, it'd be great to keep growing that community. From a fan's perspective, like best fans in the world are in Halifax for sure. Like it doesn't take more than one game to go to the rink and see that in action. The year that Halifax won the Memorial Cup, we went down. A crew of us went into Saskatoon and watched a few games, and even just being there and connecting with fans. The contingency of Moose fans that were in Saskatoon that year was incredible. So the fans are exceptional. So and that's what it's all about. These folks come in day in and day out and continue to support this team over 20 years now. So it's an amazing thing for sure.
30.
Outside that, what's that?
30.
30, yes.
30
Not 20, 30. And then outside that, the organization, like it's top notch. Like they really treat it as a professional organization, and that's from the top down. Like from the ownership and Cam and Travis and Brian and those guys, they do a fantastic job, and right down to everybody else that's part of the team, like the billet families. Like I don't think they get as much credit as they should. Like I talked about. Bill Donnelly driving the Moose van, like they also billeted 2 players, and you had just some phenomenal billets around that would do anything for these players. So to give them a home is a huge thing. So the people that make things work behind the scenes, the one-on-one program, like I still see Steve Sykes over at the rink, like
he's a stud.
Again, another
he's a stud. Love Steve.
Yeah. Still and another billet, right? Like taking players into their homes and giving back wherever they can, like to those guys, like just a million thank yous to those families and the people that kind of make things work behind the scenes.
Well, listen, Bruce, I know you're a very busy man. We scheduled this interview probably about 4 or 5 times over the past 3 months, man. I'm so happy that you were finally able to make it work, because you've been an absolute delight, man.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you being patient with me to get on the call. So, look forward to catching up sometime soon, and see you at the rink.
That was Bruce Gillis, everybody. Hope you're all healthy, safe, and happy out there. And as always, go Moose go.